hi again. Welcome back. Attorney Steve Vondran. Welcome to another exciting video. We are broadcasting from the road today, and I'm just, real excited. I want to bring you this video on the top 10 things I never learned in law school that I wish they would have told me, and now I'm going to teach you. I'm going to give you those top 10 nuggets. All right, so let's not mess around here. Let's go right to the top. Number one. First thing that I should point out is law school teaches you how to think like a lawyer. The shortest way I can put that to you is it helps you see both sides of the coin, okay? A lot of people see the world in black and white, but in reality, what they'll always tell you when you go to law school is things are not just that simple, okay? Law school teaches you how to argue the heads and the tails, either side, because you may be defending either party. But so you don't learn everything in law school. I wanted just to give you that. So number one, the first thing I didn't know when I got out of law school was how to file a motion like a pro. Now, pardon me, we taught a little bit about motions and we practiced them a little bit, but they didn't really go into the nuts and bolts and show you this is how you want to file a motion. So I created a separate video for that, how to file a motion like a pro. You should go watch that, but it's, to me, the biggest and most important thing is when you're, especially in litigation, if you're doing litigation, there's a whole lot of, they're pleadings, you're going to court, you're seeking, you're disputing things with the other party, and so you're trying to get the judge to order something. You do that through the motion process. Wasn't really well taught. I don't think most schools go into a lot of depth on that. So if you want more information about that, understanding the meet and confer process, how to file proposed orders, things like that, go to my video, how to file a motion like a pro, Attorney Steve, okay? Number two, this was not even touched upon in law school, but as I learned, this is very important, how to draft a retainer or / engagement letter or an engagement letter. A retainer is really basically just telling the client what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, what you're going to charge, what happens if there's a dispute, what are your duties, what are my duties. But that really wasn't hit upon in law school, and I think this is really important. This is your day-to-day relationship with your clients, and you're going to need to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be putting out Attorney Steve's retainer agreement. You're going to get a peek at that, yes, a peek inside my wonderful life, and you're going to get a look at some of just the basic on how I do a retainer, okay? So some firms have really long retainers, 7, 8, 10 pages. I like to keep them short and simple, but we'll talk about that, okay? So number two, how to draft a retainer agreement. 3, how to deal with the tricky opposing counsel. Again, this is another video that somebody asked me, hey, Attorney Steve, will you do a video on all the different tricks that your opposing party may do? And we're talking litigation. If you're doing transactional law, contracts, drafting, things like that, we do some of that, but we do a lot of litigation, a lot of federal court litigation. But there's a lot of tricks opposing counsel can play. There's lying that can go on. There's, I call it liars, cheaters, and game players. Yes, it's just a reality. You will find that in just about any business. But I'm going to do a video on this and show you some of the things you do when you're facing experienced litigators, or sometimes you get like the oddball litigator, the person that can be effective because they're like so crazy they can be effective. But I'm going to show you some things about how to stay calm, how to stay professional, how to deal with these things. But this is not addressed in law school, so you're going to want to subscribe to my channel. Another great upcoming video. Number 3 on my list. Number 4, this is, again, all these things are so important, but trust fund accounting, okay? So you wouldn't think you go to law school to learn how to become an accountant or anything like that, but when you become a lawyer and you take retainer agreements to say somebody's going to pay you whatever, a couple $1,000s to retain your legal services, that money needs to go into a trust account, and then you need to do trust accounting records. You need to keep records for that client, overall general ledger records, reconcile your records. They don't teach you this in law school, and what you'll learn is if you bounce a check or you do something, basically if you bounce a check, the state bar, at least in California where I practice, the state bar will find out about it, believe it or not. So if you don't know how to do trust fund accounting, you're really potentially facing a big problem, because there's nothing worse than losing other people's money, OPM. Okay, so you don't want to lose other people's money. You're safeguarding that money. You're holding it in trust. So understanding how to do trust fund accounting, not even touched upon in law school, at least where I went. Number 4. So I would recommend that if you're a young lawyer coming out, that you take a class in trust fund accounting. I have taken a class in trust fund accounting just to make sure, because the rules, I'm not an accountant, my dad was, but to learn the rules, it's very, very important. Okay. Number 5, how to be effective in mediation or arbitration. So many cases now, so many contracts and things, whether it's real estate or intellectual property, copyright law, things are subject to arbitration clauses in the contract or in the licensing agreement, those kinds of things. And so you're going to find yourself in a lot of cases ending up in mediation, arbitration. What's the difference? Mediation is not binding. It's usually just kind of a neutral, trying to get the parties to come together. Arbitration is like a trial, and it's oftentimes binding. So learning how to do those and deal with those. I have videos on my most important mediation tips. You should check that out. It's a great video. I think I'm getting up to 60,000 hits or so doing very well. Check that out. Attorney Steve mediation tips. I don't have one on arbitration, but I will be coming out with one for arbitration pretty soon. Again, bookmark. This is stuff you can use. This is not like fake news. This is not the same thing over and over again. This is stuff you can use. So number 5, how to be effective in mediation and arbitration and depositions. Okay, they don't really teach you deposition process in law school. Again, at least my law school. So I have a great video out on Attorney Steve's greatest deposition tips. I urge you to check that out. If you're a new lawyer, if you're in litigation, you're going to have depos coming up. The minute you get into a case or you defend a case or file a case, you're going to have depositions coming up. Watch that video. Again, not something that I learned. I wish I would have learned. I wish there was a class on it, but sometimes you learn, no pun intended, through trial and error. Okay. 6, this is another great tip. These are all aren't these fantastic tips?
They are fantastic. I'm learning over here.
Frontline Lisi over here doing the driving. So 6, how to use the bar ethics hotline. People say, well, what do you mean? You take a class in law school called professional obligation, professional rules of conduct, all that for attorneys. We have our own set of rules in a book about yay thick that we have to follow. We have to know all these rules. But what happens is you study it in law school and it's great and you think you know it, but you get into real life and then these rules start coming up and you're like, how do I deal with this? This is kind of a pickle, and there's no way you end up as a lawyer, at least in litigation. I can't speak as much to transactional law, but there's no way you end up in litigation, don't run into problems with conflicts or confidentiality or there's so many things I can't even begin to say. But the bar, like California Bar, Arizona Bar, I'm a member of both bars, they have a bar ethics hotline, so it's free. I mean, it's not free, you pay for these bar dues, but they provide this service, so why not take advantage of it? Give them a call. You put your name in, you give them your bar number, you tell them what the issue is, they call you back, you have a call. Now, they're not going to give you legal advice. If you need an ethics lawyer, that's a separate situation. What they will do is they will guide you towards the statutes, the ethical opinions, perhaps some case law as well. So this is a great resource when you get stuck and before you make a mistake, you call them, you find out, you get some guidance, you look up the rules, and that will generally help you. If you still don't know, call your ethics attorney. It's worth the money, that kind of thing. So how to use ethics, the bar ethics hotline, so important. Coming in at number 6. Number 7, I have how to prepare for litigation warfare. What does that mean? Well, in law school, you learn the procedural laws, you learn the substantive laws. The substantive laws are like, copyright law, what is it? The procedural laws are like, how do you get there? How do you get your case through court? Like the federal rules of civil procedure. So they teach you those, they teach you how to think like a lawyer, but like I said, they kind of drop you off at the block right there, but they don't teach you how to review the judge, spending time to review the judge. This is something that I always do. I like to get a sense of where the judge went to law school, kind of what, societies they may have been in, what kind of books or classes they may have taught or are teaching. So I like to spend my time to learn about the judge. That will help me write a brief that maybe somehow tries to connect or at least resonate with the judge. It's very important. How to research your opposing counsel, how to research their prior filings. For example, in federal court cases, you can research case law and the cases they filed on the federal PACER system. I have a video on the federal PACER system. If you want to do that, Google Attorney Steve PACER. You'll find my video on that. But they don't teach you these things. And again, the motions, the discovery procedure, the e-discovery, electronic discovery, all this stuff is kind of, at least when I went to school. Now, this was many years ago. Bear in mind, maybe things have changed, so I don't want to say this is the way it is. But we didn't have all that practical training, so I'm just sharing these with you. So that's number 7. And again, in there is how to file your motions like a pro and all that stuff, okay? And the mediation arbitration, all that's included. Number 8, this is really, really important, is how to evaluate the value of a case. We're going through Sedona. Very nice, isn't it? It's this beautiful country out here. This is coming into Sedona. So how to evaluate a case? What's the value of a case? This is really, really tricky. Now, there's some things you can do to understand, well, what's the value of my case? Let's say somebody's got a broken kneecap. What's the value? I don't do personal injury law, but what's the value of a copyright infringement case? There's tools out there, for example, like Westlaw, which is my favorite. There's Westlaw and there's Lexis. I prefer Westlaw big time. I'm really a fan of Westlaw, but they have jury verdicts, so you can go read the jury verdicts and get a sense of what a case is worth. I had a right of publicity case that I was working on in California, and I was trying to get a gauge, and so I went through and searched all the jury verdicts over a long period of time just so I could get a sense of what a jury might do with this case, what the value might be, and that helps you advise your client and helps you in settlement. Okay, so that's one way. There's other litigation services that can do that. Get involved in a trial lawyers association. Like I'm in the Orange County Trial Lawyers Association, San Francisco Trial Lawyers Association. But get involved in these things where you have access to listserv. The best source that I'm aware of, not only jury verdicts, but also talking to other attorneys, getting their opinion. Have you ever had a case like this? What do you think this is worth? I remember a CLE credit, continuing education class I took one time where one lawyer said I had a friend that was really conservative, and I had a lawyer friend that was really aggressive, and I used to call him and ask for his opinion, then I'd call her and ask for her opinion, and I usually figured my case was worth something right in between. So, but understanding the value of the case, probably not something you're going to learn in law school, and that's something you learn through experience and by networking and using your litigation tools, okay? Number 9, again, another important item, not usually taught in law school. It'd be cool if they did. Choosing clients wisely, okay? So you want to make sure, usually when you're litigating a case or even transactional, some transactional contractual things can carry on for a couple months or even longer. Litigation can carry on from a year to 2 years, even longer if you're up on appeal and things like that. But you want to choose clients that you believe in, that you have a mutual cause, that you understand each other's goals and objectives, and that you generally, like I said, I usually say, somebody I want to have a cup of tea with, somebody that we value as a client and want to spend some time, and that we want to fight for them. So, and it's not to say that that's the only time you ever, we've helped people and, may not be our perfect ideal client, but trying to choose the right client, it's usually not something anybody thinks about, but when you get into real life, real practice of day-to-day practice of law, this becomes a very important thing. So that is number 9, and finally, number 10. I don't think this really comes through enough in law school, but how to have fun practicing law, doing it my style. You don't have to do it like me, but I have a lot of fun. I'm passionate about the business, making videos, educating people, helping settle cases, the whole process, depositions, motions a little bit harder sometimes, it takes a little more work and things like that, but how to have fun practicing law, networking with other attorneys, joining some membership clubs and things like that, and networking with other attorneys, fighting just causes, helping people. Like I said, with my YouTube channel, giving back to people. There's a lot of ways to have fun. I'm going to be cracking out a video here shortly about why you should create a video channel if you are a lawyer. And I'm not going to tip you off on any, but I got 5 main reasons. Not going to tip it off now. Subscribe to this channel if you want to get to those nuggets, okay? So that's the top 10 list. And
those are good ones.
Those are things that I did not learn in law school, and I think would be really important. We got to go. There's a call. Have fun. If you like this video, subscribe. If not, then I don't know, go listen to fake news or whatever. So have a great day. Attorney Steve, civil litigation, California, Arizona. And if you have any comments, look down below. I will also be putting a link to all these videos that I talk about that I have. I will be putting these down in the message box below. So that's about it. Have a great day. We'll be reporting back to you soon, but I appreciate you all watching. All right, have a great day.